Setting up internal and external Exchange Server 2016 virtual directories. Installing third-party SSL certificate. As we know, until this moment, the self-signed certificates are pretty annoying, right? Whenever our users are connecting through Outlook, they are getting the security warnings and all that. We don't like it. User don't like it. I don't like it, and of course you don't like it. So it's time to replace those self-signed certificates with some right kind of certificates. You can install certificate from your CA, Active Directory Certificate Authority, but in my case, I will install uh, from third party, for example, Komodo. In our scenario, our external DNS domain name and our Active Directory domain name, it's the same, which is itsense.com. For namespace, what I will use ova.itsense.com, all my virtual directories like Autodiscover, OVA, ECP, EWS, ActiveSync, Offline Address Book, PowerShell, Outlook Anywhere, as well as MAPI virtual directory. Yes, because Exchange Server 2016 use MAPI over HTTP, so we need to set MAPI directory URL also. So I will set all the directories URL to ova.itsense.com. Externally, of course, we need to add in our external DNS, we need to have an auto discover record, host record for autodiscover.itsense.com. But I will create it as a CNAME record that will point to OVA or owa.itsense.com. So far I think everything is clear. And now it's time to do some action and setting up and let's set up all these directories. Again, we need to go to Exchange Admin Center. This is our server, EX1. I'll go to Virtual Directories option. And there are few directories which I can set up using Exchange Admin Center. And Auto Discover is not one of them. Yeah. If I go to properties, which I will show you later on, let me just go to the external access domain first, and we will add an external access domain. We will select the server and the external access domain name for all my client computers, my namespace, which is ova.itsense.com. What it will do, it will configure external domain name for all these directories. So instead of doing this step, let's say 7 times for 7 directories, all you have to do is just configure external namespace and it will be done for all 7. As I was saying earlier, Autodiscover is not one of those directories which we can configure using Exchange Admin Center. We need to use Exchange Management Shell for that. And we will come back to it. But let's start with other directory, which is Exchange Control Panel. See, external URL is automatically populated. Why? Because we configured external domain in first step. So I will just copy and paste it because in my case, as I said, internal and external URL is the same. So warning. Okay, I will remember that. Exchange Web Services. Let's copy it. ActiveSync. Paste. Oops, sorry. I was shocked. My bad. So, copy and paste it here. Good for offline address book. Now overtime and paste. PowerShell. So you see, configuring external access domain is pretty handy. You just do it once, and external URL for all these directories will be automatically populated. Now we will do it for Outlook Anywhere. It's there under Server Properties. And I will change this to OA and OA. Good. Okay. So now I think we need Exchange Management Shell to set auto discover internal URI. The commandlet that we will use is, okay, let's be ready. This one. Set client access server identity x1 and then auto discover service internal URI and the path. It will give me a warning. I guess it will give me a warning if I'm not mistaken. Yes, because set client access server commandlet will be removed because now Microsoft has merged client access server role has merged client access server role with mailbox role. So the new commandlet for future will be set client access service instead of a server. But just make sure it gave us warning, but it doesn't mean it did not succeed. It accepted that. It just told us that for future it won't be accepted. Just to make sure, we will run the commandlet. That is the get client access server and pipe identity auto discover internal URI. And yes, it's been set to ova.itsense.com. All right, seems like we are good to go. Okay, one confession. After setting up Auto Discover, I went back to my notes to check did I miss anything, and yes, I did miss one thing. I forgot to set up mappy directory URL. So that's why I ran this commandlet get mappy virtual directory and see it's still set to ex1. So we need to change this mappy virtual directory, and the commandlet is set mappy virtual directory identity ex1 mappy, which is the default website, and then with external URL we will specify the new path, and internal URL we will specify the new path, which in our case is the same. Good. So we have set up mappy as well. Let's just make sure by running the commandlet called get mappy virtual directory and select Exchange Server internal and external, and yes, it's all set to OVA. Then it should be fine. It should be fine. I think we covered all the directories. So let's reboot the server. And I rebooted the server and I logged in again. And I would like to go to DNS and specify host record for this namespace called OVA, because there is no physical server called OVA, right? So we will add this OVA host record in our DNS, which is in my case integrated DNS on domain controller. Now let's switch back to Exchange Server and let's try to generate certificate request. Okay. As we know, by default there are some self-signed certificates. What I want to generate a certificate request and send the certificate request to Komodo so that I can get a third-party certificate, so I don't have those security warnings from trusted CA and all that. I will specify name. It's a friendly name. It could be anything. In my case, I prefer to use the same name, common name as the name of the certificate. I don't want wildcard. I'll choose EX1. And here I can set the names that I want to be in this certificate. As you can see, most of my names are the same. OVA, and how did it get it? Because if you recall, just few steps back, we set up these names for all virtual directories. Let me do it for POP as well. Good. I will leave the external record, needs to be auto-discover anyway. But I said earlier, I will create CNAME record of auto-discover, which will be equivalent to ova.itsense.com, and then eventually client will resolve ova.itsets.com. So I think I'm fine. We are fine. So let's just continue. Yep. And ova.itsense.com has been highlighted and set as a common name. As you can see, I have no option to set a common name, but if I select another one, let's see the difference. No option. If I still choose another one, see it gives me an option to click. And it's highlighted, so it's clear over.itsense.com. It's a common name, and this is what I want. This is what we want, because all our directories has been pointed to over.itsense.com. If we have an option to add multiple names, so I'm just adding my local server name as well, but common name will be our namespace, which is over.itsense.com. Then I need to fill some information like organization name, department, city, which is in my case Perth, Western Australia, and country is Australia. Where I would like to save the certificate request. It's a UNC path. So let me write it. I'll save it on C drive. I think this should be enough. And good. So certificate request is saved. I will go to the directory and you will see this certificate request file. I would like to open it with Notepad, and here it is, certificate request. What I will do now, I will take this request, I will copy it, go to the site of the certificate authority from which I want to get certificate from, and I will paste this certificate request to their online form and will get the certificate. In my case, I will use SSLs.com. They have very good pricing for certificates, and it's very good, especially for testing environment. I will get the certificate from Komodo. As I said, we can use 80 certificates, but that requires more administrative overhead. So I will pause this video and I will get back to you once I will get the certificate. Okay, we have a pending request, and guess what? I got the certificate. So I will click the complete option and I will give it a name. Sorry. I'll give the path where the certificate is, and here it is. owa.itsense.com, valid for 1 year. Currently, it's not assigned to any service. I would like to assign this certificate now to services. And I will select the services I want. IIS for sure. Guess what? I think this time I'll go, at the moment I will go just for IIS. I'll save it. And yep, it's assigned to IIS. Means all my virtual directories should be using these certificates. So how about testing? If I connect my Outlook, will my user get those nasty warnings? Let's find out. Let's test it first for Outlook web app. So if I type owa.itsense.com, see, I go to Exchange, Admin Center, no warning, and see I have a certificate signed by Komodo. Good. No warnings. Awesome. So let me log in. Yep. Good. Very good. No warnings at all. Now I'm in one of the client computer and I will try to access Outlook web app. It's Windows 8.1 and I'm using Internet Explorer. I will write ova.itsense.com/ova. And yes, no warning. You see, you should buy Komodo. No more self-signed. Great. So I will log Steve Smith. English US is fine. Just time zone, I need to change it to Perth. Yeah. Awesome. So let me compose an email to Mark Nicholas, an administrator. And when I'll send this email, we will log in as Mark or administrator using Microsoft Outlook and see, do we get some warnings? Okay, I did send an email using Outlook web app using Steve Smith. Now it's time to test using Microsoft Outlook. All right. I have here Windows 8.1 computer. I logged in as administrator and let me fire up Microsoft Outlook. Outlook 2013. Before I was getting bugged with self-signed certificate warnings, and now no more warnings. Good. This is what we were looking for. No more certificates issues. No more security warnings. You know, users were complaining. That's not a good thing, isn't it? And I got a message from Steve Smith, if you remember. Previously, I sent by using Outlook web app. Great job. No more certificate warning. How about testing with Windows 10? Well, it will be the same anyway. Windows doesn't matter, client doesn't matter. What matters is the certificate has already been replaced. But anyway, here I'm on Windows 10 machine as Steve Smith, and I should get administrator's reply. Let me start off with Outlook. Here I have Outlook 2016. Let's pin it to taskbar and I will run it. It's the first time for Steve Smith to use this machine. Yeah, good. Let's see now. Time for moment of truth. It's a moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see. Shall I get that nasty looking window or not? when I click next. What do you think? Let's see. Aha! If you recall, I used to get a nasty certificate warning at that time and at this time. And guess what? No more nasty certificate warnings. And this is the message from administrator. Awesome. So great. We got rid of all those self-signed certificates and we have now certificates signed by trusted third-party certificate authorities. No more warnings. Life is good. Life is easy. Life is smooth for admins as well as for administrator. So this is how you set namespace as well as you install third-party certificates for your Microsoft Exchange server. So I would like to thank you and I would like to see you in another video.